Hi, everyone. Just going to wait a few minutes for everyone to filter into the event here, but let me make sure all my cameras are set up. I would love to know where you are tuning in from today. I am currently visiting my mom in Kansas City. So my name's Kat. I'm going to be hosting the event today if you haven't met me yet. But yeah, let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. And if you have a favorite species of wild caught fish from Alaska that you've been really enjoying this week. I will say that I am really liking cooking with rockfish right now. I think it's one of my favorite fish to cook because it's really hard to overcook. So, and you can also put a ton of flavor on it and it's really delicious. So hello, everybody. Hello, Beth from Nebraska. We're just a state away from each other. Just going to wait a few more minutes for everyone to get in. A couple people from Texas today. Yes, the miso marinated sablefish that's pretty much all I do with the sablefish, honestly. We have other recipes for sablefish, but I almost always just decide to put miso on it because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So ooh, you hear feedback. That's not a good thing. Let's see. I don't know if that's me or if anyone else is hearing feedback, but let me know. Hello from Florida and Oklahoma, also a state away from me. Any other favorite things that anyone's been cooking this week while we're waiting another minute? Okay, good. No feedback. No feedback is good. I don't know why you're getting feedback, Joanne, but hopefully that ends soon. All right. Let's wait maybe one. Ooh, Pacific cod tonight. I would love to know what you're going to be making with that, Claire. I'm going to wait one more minute just to make sure my team is here too. I see one or two of them are. So, oh yeah, the Mediterranean halibut is one of the easiest things, and it is for sure a winner. All right, actually, let's go ahead and get started because I think someone's used hot smoked salmon and quiche. Well, that's great because today we're going to be talking about hot smoked salmon. So let me go ahead and get started since we're 3 minutes after the hour. Let me pull up my notes here. So just to reintroduce myself, if you're coming in a little bit late, my name's Kat. I'm from the Wild Alaskan Company recipe team. And today we're going to see how fast and easy it can be to snack with wild caught sockeye salmon. You don't have to do any cooking. Toasting, yes, but I don't count that as cooking. Little toasting, no cooking, just some chopping, maybe some mixing. That's like my ideal snack where it's very low lift and you just have something delicious and healthy to eat. So today, to show you how to do that, I'm going to be making 2 different recipes that you can enjoy as a snack, as a light meal, any time of the day. It could be breakfast, lunch, dinner. One of these I think is actually a really nice as an appetizer too, if you're ever entertaining. So the key to these 2 recipes to making them no cook is having a pack of hot smoked sockeye salmon in your fridge. If you've never heard of hot smoked sockeye salmon before, I'll tell you a little more about this offering from us in a moment. But first, before we get to the recipes, just a couple of housekeeping notes. If you would like captions on during this event, you can feel free to turn that on at the bottom of your screen. Your Zoom panel should pop up either a button that says captions or more with 3 dots. So you can turn that on and it will transcribe everything that I'm saying. If you have any questions over the course of today's event, feel free to drop that in the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Ideally not the chat button because it'll just make it easier for my team to find the questions that need to be answered. So there's a Q&A button instead of the chat button for that. And lastly, if you need to leave before today's event is over, we'll send a link to, I believe, the YouTube posting of this event in the next day or so. But the event will also be available immediately after we finish here today on our Facebook homepage, where it is live streaming simultaneously right now. So I am joined today by a few of my colleagues from the member experience team. They're the people who are going to be answering a lot of your questions today, tomorrow, anytime you want to chat about wild-caught seafood. If they want to come onto camera to say hi and just wave, they're real people who love fish just as much as I do, and hopefully all of you too. So hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. All right, today we're making two recipes, like I said. First one we're going to make is smoked salmon flatbread with an herby yogurt, like a spread. We're not making the flatbread. I'm using some store-bought flatbread for this, so that's why it's no cook. The second recipe is a smoked salmon toast with avocado and feta. So basically an Alaskan version of an avocado toast that I think is really, really good for breakfast, or like I said, snacks any time of day. If you don't eat bread, or even if you do, I'm going to give you a couple of delicious bread-free options for both of these recipes as well, sort of remixing it a little bit into either a different snack or a salad. So have a couple of links for those recipes in the chat if you want to take a sneak peek at those. But let's see, let's get started talking about hot smoked sockeye salmon. So the most important thing to know about hot smoked sockeye is that it's ready to eat. You can just take it out of a pack and enjoy it, just like you'd eat any type of smoked salmon that's already in a pack. This is why it's so good for easy, fast snacking. So this is about 8 ounces, and it's good for about 4 servings, depending on how much of this you can manage to eat in one sitting. I can eat more than what the serving size is because it's really, really delicious. The second important thing to know about hot smoked sockeye is it's not spicy. That's the first thing a lot of people think when they see the word hot in the name. But hot actually describes the temperature at which this particular smoked salmon was smoked. So the name differentiates it from cold smoked salmon, which is the type of salmon that you are probably most familiar with. It's like the kind of salmon that you'd have on a salmon bagel. And cold smoked salmon is smoked at a much lower temperature than hot smoked salmon, hence the terms hot and cold. So we also have cold smoked salmon. This package is so much prettier than this one, right? But anyway, so this is the cold smoked salmon. That's the one that you're probably more familiar with. Also not spicy, but you can make it spicy if you want to by just putting some hot sauce on it. The main difference between cold smoked and hot smoked salmon from like a culinary standpoint is they have a very different texture from each other. Cold smoked, I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's almost like raw, briny, has like like a softer texture. The hot smoked sockeye, I have some of this out of the pack, so I'll show you in a minute. It's super flaky, very savory, more concentrated in flavor than cooked salmon. It's almost like cooked salmon, but it's like a little bit firmer due to the process of preservation. I actually have some out here on a plate. If you want to turn on my camera, Tyler, for my salmon. Oh, actually, I need to turn my camera on first. There we go. So this is what hot smoked salmon looks like when it's out of the pack, like super flaky. I mean, it just almost like crumbles in your hand to these like really delicious morsels of fish. It's hard to not eat it when it breaks into a little nugget like that. So if you want to read a little bit more about the differences between cold smoked and hot smoked sockeye, we have a blog post about that. So feel free to jump over to that anytime you want. This is currently the hot smoked sockeye salmon, an exclusive member special that we are offering as of maybe like 5 minutes ago, approximately. So I highly recommend adding a couple of packs of these to your next box because they're just super tasty and they come in really handy when you know that you're not always going to be able to cook something, but you want something delicious and healthy. I think we have a link that we'll just drop in the chat if you want to check out what that member special is. But I personally love having a no-cook option in my kitchen. You can, of course, store these packs in the freezer for as long as you like. But the great thing about either of these smoked sockeyes is that you can keep an unopened pack of either in your refrigerator for up to 30 days. So it's sort of like a really good open in case of emergency pack of protein that you can have for those moments when you really don't have time or the energy or the mental space to cook. After it's opened, you have to eat it within 5 days, ideally, but it's just nice to have something that you can keep in the fridge in case you get really hungry and don't have anything to cook. So enough of the preamble. Let's get started with the first recipe. I'm really excited to share this one with you. So the first thing we're going to make today is a smoked salmon flatbread that's going to have an herby yogurt spread. I know this can sound like really fancy, but it comes together in under 15 minutes, probably much faster than that. I say it's under 15 minutes because you do need to preheat an oven or throw something in a, actually, if you have a toaster oven, you don't need to preheat, but I don't have a toaster oven here. So I have an oven that's preheated so that this can get nice and toasty. So what I'm using in terms of ingredients, I have some prepared flatbread. This was like a naan or something that I got at my local grocery store, sort of in the pita aisle. If you can't find something that looks like a rustic flatbread, pita is totally a really good option too. So I almost didn't see this in the aisle and I almost bought pita, but I like this because it looks like I made it at home, which I really didn't. I bought it in a package. So got that, got a little bit of olive oil that I'm gonna turn into like a garlicky oil with this garlic. Have some Greek yogurt, so like a nice strained yogurt so that it'll be like a thick sauce instead of something really runny. And then, I had some fresh herbs that I thought looked really nice. So most of that is going to go either into the yogurt sauce itself or onto the bread. And of course, we've got hot smoked sockeye for this. So like I said, all you need to make this is an oven or even a toaster oven so that you don't have to preheat everything. And then a little mixing bowl, which I put over here. So just to get started, I'm going to put this aside for the moment, and I'm just going to make a really simple garlicky oil, just garlic and oil. That's all we're doing here. I'm going to smash this to get the skin off of the garlic. And if you don't love garlic, you can totally skip this step. Actually, the flatbread that I bought at the store, it was plain, but I know that there are flatbreads that have like a roasted garlic flavor already on them. So if that's the case, you can buy that and you can totally skip this if you don't want to even do, this extra step, although this really just takes 10 seconds. So I've got some minced garlic that I'm going to put into this little mixing bowl here. And a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Maybe, actually, I'll just do a tablespoon because I'm just making one flatbread right now. Give that a little swirl. And then I'm going to spoon this onto my flatbread here. If you want, if you have a pastry brush, you can use a pastry brush for this, but it doesn't really need to be perfect. Get a little bit of extra flavor and oil in here so it'll get nice and toasty. But like I said, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, if the bread is already seasoned, or even if the bread isn't seasoned, if you're not a huge garlic fan. So that's going to go onto a baking sheet, just like that, and into the oven for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, maybe a little bit more than that, just until it gets nice and toasty. So while that is toasting in the oven, we're basically just warming it up, getting it a little bit crispy, bringing out some of the textures that are in the bread. Now I'm going to make the yogurt sauce. So in the same bowl, actually, I'm going to scoop out some of this garlic since I didn't use all of it. Just put that right there. I'm going to put in about that much yogurt. This is, I think, a 1/4 cup that I'm using for one of these flatbreads. I'm going to swirl that around. And then to that, I'm going to add some chives and dill. So I like using chives and dill. I think those are really, really nice flavors that pair with salmon, but you can also use something like mint or parsley. Even tarragon might be really nice. I've also tried using this with like chopped up capers, and that's super tasty as well. So just give this a rough chop. This is a great one to make in the summer when you just have so much flavor around you and this like really nice light freshness. You're adding a lot of flavor without a lot of like the heaviness of ingredients that, I don't know, just like weigh things down. So this will be really beautiful and delicious. That's that. And then I'm going to add some lemon zest. So I'm actually at my mom's house and she doesn't have a lemon zester. You know, like, what are you supposed to do if you don't have a lemon zester? What you can do is just take a knife and pull off the peel carefully. This is not a super sharp knife, so you can use a paring knife rather than something like this. That would be a lot better. But you're basically just pulling off the peel, trying not to get the white of the pith because that is a little bit bitter. So you're getting just the yellow part, and this is going to give you a lot of the lemony flavors without the acidity. So the really fragrant aspects of lemon. This is where all the essential oils are trapped. So it's a lot easier if you have a lemon zester, but this is a way to do it when you don't have one. So I'm going to use about half of a lemon since I'm just doing one flatbread. If I was doing a couple of these, maybe I'd end up using the whole zest. So this is a lot of white on here. I'm just going to try to get some of the excess off. Just like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to ruin the dish if there's some white on there. So then chop this up into little pieces. You get to practice your knife skills if you're doing this. Just like that. And then we're just going to throw this into the yogurt. Oops. I also like a little bit of acidity, so I'm going to take this lemon and squeeze about, I don't know, give it a good squeeze. Stir this up and then give it a taste. You can always see if you want to add some pepper, more herbs, more citrus. All right, it tastes really good and tastes better than just plain yogurt. And now I'm going to check on the flatbread, which is probably ready at this point, honestly. It just needs to be heated up and it's looking good. That oil on there is bubbling, which is great. I'm going to slide this onto the plate here, just like that.
Hey, Kat, could you move the salmon to the side a little bit so we can see a bit more of that? Perfect.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
Thank you. All right, and now is the fun part, if you weren't having fun yet. Actually, you know what? I'm going to wait 1 second because this is hot. If I put the yogurt on now, it might end up getting a little soupy. So I'm going to let this just rest for a moment. You know, just give it like a minute or two to cool down. In the meantime, while that's cooling off, I'm going to show you how to make a bread-free version of this. So I have some cucumbers that I already sliced up like this. Not too thick, not too thin. And these are just going to be like little saucers that I can put some of this yogurt sauce on. So I like this as either a snack or, you know, like a really basic, easy appetizer that you can serve if you have some people over or just feel like having a party with yourself. So here's how I would do this. And then the hot smoked salmon, just pile it on there like that. So this is salty, not super salty. It's going to be a lot less salty than cold smoked sockeye. So just taste it and see, you know, what your preference is for salt levels. But this is probably a good amount to serve on these. One thing I didn't mention, the hot smoked sockeye, it has some black pepper on it already. I want to emphasize that this is not spicy. It's just a nice seasoning that adds to, enhances some of the flavors, brings out some of that smokiness. So if you're looking at a pack of this and seeing all this pepper on there, it's just black pepper. Don't worry so much about spice. So that looks really pretty to me. I'm going to add some sprigs of dill on there because I have some at the ready here. I think that looks really, really cute. And now we have a gluten-free version of this snack, either for yourself or if you want to have a friend over and enjoy this. So this is now probably cool enough to put some yogurt on. So I'm going to smear this on there. I think I just put the exact right amount in the bowl here. Just a little swoosh back and forth across this. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to layer on some smoked sockeye like this. So this is already sliced up for you into, I don't know, there's usually about 8 or 10 slices of it, but I really like breaking it up. And honestly, when you're taking it out of the pack, it'll probably break up anyway because it's already primed to be very, very flaky. Let's do that. It's probably enough on here. All right. And then to that, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add some dill. Just scatter some on there. Could also chop this up if you're not trying to be a caveman about it like I am right now. But I think this looks so pretty. And of course, you're not going to eat it like a giant piece of pizza. You're going to want to slice it up into something a little more bite-sized. So let me just slide this off the plate for a moment. I like slicing flatbread like this into sort of these like off-kilter triangles. I just think it looks really rustic and nice. But if you're someone who likes right angles, feel free to chop these into something more like a square. I think this is really festive looking when you have it like this, though. Festive, even if it's just a snack for yourself, it's nice to make things pretty for when you're home alone. So I'm going to move this back onto the plate. Actually, if I was at a party or having a party, I would just serve this on a really pretty cutting board and, maybe have some napkins on the side and have that call it a day, So that is the hot smoked sockeye flatbread 2 ways. Got the flatbread way and the cucumber way. I probably should take a bite of this right now because that's what we have all been waiting for. So if you want to switch back to the other camera so people can see me take a bite. Really easy, really good. If you end up making this recipe and having some yogurt sauce left over, you can stash it in the fridge in a covered container and, make another flatbread in the next day or two using the rest of the pack if you haven't used all of it yet. So just a really nice snack to have. Honestly, this would be a really good breakfast too. You got your salmon, you got your yogurt, sort of breakfasty, but really makes you feel like you're having a special brunch. And that took all of, 10 minutes or so for me to do this. Chopping, mixing, putting something in the oven. Feel free to actually even add more things to this if you wanted to do radishes, if you want to put cucumber on it, if you want to put onions, like this is totally a blank canvas. If you have the yogurt to start with, from there you can just add a lot of other pretty things to it. So any questions about what I just made here?
Yeah, I got one big question really that I think could help. Could you compare the hot smoked sockeye to our sockeye strips and to our regular sockeye portions, just the difference between those 3?
Yes. So the hot smoked sockeye, it seems like it's cooked sockeye. So, and what I mean by that is it's firm, it's flaky, it has a drier texture than cold smoked sockeye, which, feels like almost like raw salmon. The main difference I would say is that you don't have to cook it. This is ready to eat right out of the package, but it already is ready. It's seasoned already because during the preservation process, it's cured in some salt and sugar. That brine is removed before it's smoked, so it's not sweet. The sugar actually helps some of the smoke adhere to it. I'm getting a little technical here, but if you're cooking with sockeye strips or just like a regular fillet of sockeye, what you could do is make the exact same dish that we've made here, but you would just need to cook the fish first and then flake it or put the strips on top. I will say that there's like a noticeable difference in texture, not in a good or bad way. I'd actually even make this with cold smoked sockeye, because I think that would be a really nice, just like a nice interpretation of this dish. But yeah, main difference is you don't have to cook it because it's already ready, just out of the pack. But this is going to be firmer, almost with a dry texture. And I don't mean dry in a bad way, but because it's smoked, it has a much lower moisture content than something like sockeye salmon, like the 6-ounce portions or the strips. If you end up getting a pack of this, you'll sort of be able to taste that and see what I mean. It's like halfway between cooked salmon and like jerky, I guess is the best way to put it. Any other questions about salmon or what I just made?
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's all the questions for now.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I'm going to set these aside and I'll have some really happy guests here after we close out that'll be really excited to eat this. So let's move on to the next recipe. So this is almost a no recipe. I can hardly call it a recipe because it's avocado toast. A lot of you have probably had avocado toast before. If you haven't, you probably will be making it all the time after you see how easy it is, and it's really delicious too. So this takes even less time and less energy than what I just made amazingly. So I am calling it avocado toast, but with an Alaskan upgrade because we're adding hot smoked salmon to it, wild caught fish from Alaska. I think this is a really great alternative to having something like salmon on a bagel with cream cheese in the morning because it feels a little indulgent, but between the avocado and the hot smoked sockeye, it's rich in healthy fats. So, you know, you're getting an upgrade in like flavor, nutrition, just sort of all across the board. Not that there's anything wrong with salmon on a bagel, but sometimes you just want to change things up a little bit. So the ingredients that I need for this, I have a piece of bread. Actually, I preloaded this into my toaster. Just a piece of bread, normal toast. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm gonna pop that right back in there for now. I think one of the most important ingredients when you want to make avocado toast is a ripe avocado. If you have one that's not ripe enough, it's just not going to be as good. So be patient or find the perfect avocado at the store if that's even possible. So I'm going to use probably about half of this. I see in the question or in the chat just really quickly because I just saw your question, Wendy. Smoked salmon is always ready to eat. So whether it's cold smoked or hot smoked, you don't need to cook it. It's already been preserved, and the smoking process does make it safe to eat, and it's no longer technically raw. So yes, there's no raw smoked salmon, even though cold smoked salmon seems raw, it's not raw. Yes, anyway, just a little interlude about that. So I'm going to use an avocado. This is ripe. I'm going to need juice from, I don't know, probably about half a lemon. So I'll just use that little half smushed lemon that I had earlier from the flatbread. I've got some sliced red onion, pre-sliced so that I don't have to bother doing that while you're watching. And if you like, you can add some crumbled feta to this as well. Or even something like everything bagel seasoning. This is totally optional. If you don't have feta, if you don't want to add cheese to this, if you don't have everything bagel seasoning, you can completely skip all of those things because this is going to be delicious without it. As a gluten-free option, I'm going to use all of these ingredients and make it into a salad rather than an avocado toast. So the only supplies you need for this are a toaster and, a bowl for salad if you're going to make this into a salad. So to start cooking this, actually, it's not cooking. I'm just going to put the toaster on. So that's going to be all of 1 or 2 minutes. In the meantime, I am going to, my knife is a little dirty here from the yogurt. I'm going to cut into my avocado, and it's really a nice ripe one. I got really lucky today at the store. Nice green color. I'm going to use, I think, half of it. And you can either, actually, you know what? I'm going to make this really rustic. So I'm not going to slice it out of there. I'm just going to take a spoon, scoop out the flesh so that's ready to go. And actually, while the toast is toasting, I'll show you how I'll make this into a salad. So Tyler, if you want to spotlight my cutting board again, I will show everyone what I'm doing here. All right, so we've got a nice bowl of just some baby greens and mixed greens that I got at the store. I'm gonna drizzle on some olive oil, make a really simple dressing as we go here. Squeeze on some lemon. And I do want to season my greens a little bit. Little salt, little pepper. And I would love to add feta to this, so don't mind if I do. I'm gonna add probably about that much, I think is enough. Maybe a tablespoon or so. And then the hot smoked salmon can just flake into here, just like that. So you can add as little or as much as you like. I would probably not do this with cold smoked sockeye just because it has more of that raw texture. And I like the idea of using either cooked salmon or like hot smoked salmon in a salad more. So that is what that looks like. And the avocado, I will actually, I said I wasn't going to chop it up, but I changed my mind. I'm going to make this into little small dice for the salad. If you're cutting your avocado this way, make sure you don't slice all the way through the skin there. But this knife is super dull, so I'm not even worried about that. All right, we've got avocado cubes that I can just drop into here. All right, and that is literally the fastest salad I think I've ever made in my life. If you wanted to, you could add some red onion to this. I don't personally love onion in my salad, so this is a really nice, I don't know, is a salad a snack? It could be, right? This is something that I would have if I was sort of feeling a little noshy in the afternoon. I might even add more sockeye into this if I was super hungry. But this is like a really easy lunch that you could make if you work from home. Like you can just make it at your desk. If you work from an office, you could bring it with you and assemble it while you're there. So I'm gonna grab the toast because I heard that pop out of the toaster. And there we go, perfectly toasty. I'm going to use that other half of the avocado that I had and scoop it out. Since it's nice and ripe, it's going to be really easy to just like mash up onto the bread. There we go. Just like smush it down. You can make it sliced and fancy, however you like to do this, but I think this makes it look really rustic and kind of gets it like nice and creamy if you're starting to pre-mash it on here rather than having slices. Onto that, I'm going to squeeze some lemon. This will add some flavor and also obviously help it from oxidizing. I actually don't think I want to add salt to this because the sockeye is already a little bit seasoned and salty. We're going to do some red onion on here. I like putting this underneath so it kind of sticks to the avocado. Otherwise, I feel like it always falls off of anything I put it on. And then got a few slices of sockeye left. So that's going to just go right onto my piece of bread like that. And if you felt like it, you could sprinkle on some avocado underneath there, or not avocado, feta underneath there. But in the meantime, we've got a really easy, fast, delicious avocado toast. I'm going to move this to this plate here. I could make this prettier, but I'm going to eat this pretty much immediately after this is over. So yeah, that was about 3 brain cells of work and 3 minutes, which is exactly what I want when I need a snack, because I'm probably hungry, probably even hangry, but I'm hangry no more. If you want to take it off the spotlight, I'm going to take a bite of this, if you don't mind. Really good. Really, really tasty. The key is ripe avocado, and honestly, the hot smoked sockeye does so much of the work for you because there's so much flavor in here. It's super savory. really meaty, like almost meaty in texture, meaty in flavor, and just a little bit of it goes a long way. Anyone have any questions about this right now? I will say that I would make this with cold smoked sockeye as well. Not the salad, but I would do this with cold smoked sockeye, sort of like as a riff on a bagel in the morning. So.
Yeah, I think no questions for right now.
Okay, great. So I actually think that that is all I have today, because this happened so quickly. This is like my favorite thing to do at snack time, is figure out how to make the fanciest thing with the least amount of effort. But if you also want to try making either of these really fast snacks at home, you really need to add a couple packs of the hot smoked sockeye to your box. You might want more than one pack, since this is not something that's available all of the time. Like I said, a pack of this, you can keep it in your freezer for, indefinitely. If you're keeping it in the refrigerator, as long as the pack is unopened, it can stay good in your refrigerator for up to 30 days. And that's both for the hot smoked salmon, which is the special that we have right now, and the cold smoked salmon, which is actually something that you can add on to any box anytime. It's a constant special that we have as an add-on on your homepage. So yeah, what I like to do is I'll keep a couple packs of these in my freezer, and then I'll have either the hot smoked or cold smoked in my refrigerator, like I said, just in case of emergency, just in case I need a snack, and then just leave it there unopened until I am desperate for something to eat. So I also have been known to just eat the hot smoked salmon out of the package, because it's that good, and it's a really nice balance of seasoning. So it's like a good, like I treat it almost like it's salmon jerky. So once it's open in the fridge, you want to eat it within 5 days. I don't think that's going to be a problem. This stuff goes really quickly once you're starting to like enjoy it and eat. So if you're a member, add it to your pack. If you're not a member yet and you're here with us today, we have a special offer for you. Become a member. You can use the code LIVE25 and you'll get $25 off your first box of amazing seafood from Wild Alaskan Company. You also get access to exclusive member specials like the one that we're talking about today for hot smoked sockeye salmon. So yeah, you can join up on the homepage, which is wildalaskancompany.com. And yeah, otherwise, thank you everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have another event planned for next week that we run regularly. It's sort of like a basic building blocks for cooking and enjoying seafood at home. If you're new to cooking wild caught fish, it's a great place to start. I'll show you some of my favorite essentials and tools. Yeah, we look forward to doing more of these cooking sort of hangouts with you. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you at future events. Live wild.